a white officer sues for discrimination. He wants to be a police chief. Another chief gets hired. The police chief that gets hired is white too. Yeah, all right, let's put it up full mask. It's a hell of a story, it's interesting. Some twists and turns here. So a white cop is suing for being passed over by another white cop. Michael Sack, a Missouri police lieutenant, is suing the city of St. Louis for passing him as chief of police, arguing that he was not considered for the position because he is white. And the mayor, Mayor Jones, only had interest in hiring a black police chief. Now let me give you some background to this. So Sack is claiming that the city was originally determined to hire one of two other black officers to be chief, according to a complaint filed by Sack's lawyers. One black candidate, Melron Kelly, withdrew from consideration, while the other, Larry Boone, declined the city's offer because it could not get him the car he wanted in addition to the compensation package offered. His suit, however, is complicated by the fact that St. Louis hired another white officer anyway, current Chief Robert Tracy, in the middle, all right? The suit says that after the two black candidates were out of the running, the administration decided to hire an outsider in Tracy, who at the time was chief of police in Delaware City of Wilmington, instead of an internal candidate like Sack. The rationale for this, alleged Sack lawyers, was for the city to avoid acknowledging that Sack was always qualified for the job. Well, it sounds like you need to amend the filing, counselor, because this is no longer a racial discrimination filing, which is quite interesting. Despite hiring a white chief and still keeping his current job as a lieutenant, in the department, Sack and his legal team are still trying to, take it to court. Sack's attorney, Lynette Petruska, said the conduct is, quote, outrageous, and she looks forward to litigating the matter in court. She noted Sack could not publicly comment on the lawsuit because he is still employed by the department, and that will violate the agency rules. It is interesting that he is saying, well, this is reverse discrimination, basically, is what he's saying, right? Intent matters in discrimination lawsuits. The outcome can be the same, but the reason you came to the outcome, your intent in the process, could make the difference. Now, if they still ended up hiring a white male for the job, you would imagine that no one had an intent to say no to all white applicants, given the fact they did not say no to all white applicants. I don't see how this case continues to go forward. I guess they're going to argue process. They cannot argue the conclusion here, and it's going to be difficult to determine damages when it looks as if you are not going to get the job anyway. All right, so AB, what are your thoughts legally on this case?
Legally, the attorney who is trying this case, you need to go check in with the ABA, because you're not supposed to be bringing frivolous lawsuits, okay?
Yeah.
You're supposed to bring, you shall not, okay? Right. Shall not defend or bring a case that has no facts or no basis in law, okay? So if there were other white candidates, then you weren't discriminated against because you were white, okay? And even if you were to think that you were qualified for the job, that doesn't mean you were the best person for the job. You lost because it wasn't the job for you. So to that lawyer, good luck. That's all.
It is. All right, it's going to be interesting to see if it actually goes to court and somebody's actually put on deposition.